जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरावन चारी यमुना तीरावन चारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावन चारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जयो राधा कालाचंजी राधे जयो राधा गोविंद राधे। जयो जगन्नाथ जयो बलदेवा जयो सुभद्रा। निताई गौर हरि बोल Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Chaitanya Caritamrta ki. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, our dear most Srila Prabhupada, and all the Guru Vargas, may I speak few words in the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna himself. For the pleasure of the Vaishnavas and for my very own purification, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhe Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Mukum Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girum Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Kadanchana Smrite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhaved Vishmite Vipratam Syat Shri Chaitanya Namami Tvam. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one, somehow or other, simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Madhya Lila. Chapter 8. Chapter's name is Talks Between the Lord and Ramananda Rai. And little recap. We are here where between the talk between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going on, starting from Varnashram Dharma, and then finally Rai Ramananda speaks about prema, love of God, and in that we hear basically there are 5 primary rasas, but we hear the 4 rasas between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, and Mahaprabhu being satisfied finally with the prema where he said, Iha hoy age kaho ar. That means this is, you're speaking what I want to hear, but say more. And then he starts speaking. So as he speaks about Dasya and Dasya, Vatsalya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and finally Prema, and Mahaprabhu becomes more and more and more ecstatic. And then we were hearing how Mahaprabhu was, kind of encouraging Ramananda Rai to go higher or deeper in the Rasa Tattva. And we have also heard about Gayatri mantra that's been chanted, and then Kam Gayatri. I think this has been already repeated what I'm going to speak, but I was not sure where we ended, so I will just quickly go through the verses. It's mainly reading. So, Let me see where we ended. I believe this is... Okay. This is 140, Madhya 8. Tasam abhirabhut shauri smayamana mukhambuja pitambara dharas shragbhi shakan manmatha. When Krishna left the Rasa Leela dance, the gopis became very morose, and when they were grieving, Krishna reappeared dressed in yellow garments, wearing a flower garland and smiling. He was attractive even to Cupid. That is manmatha. In this way, Krishna appeared among the gopis. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-2. So right now we are hearing the glorification, the beautification of Krishna, and eventually we'll come to Radharani's beauty as well. Next one, 141. Nana bhakte rasamrito nana bidho hoy shei shab rasamriter bishoye ashroy. This is a very important verse because it explains two important things. One is ashra and one is vishaya. And it will keep coming in Chaitanya Caritamrta. It will, in the future chapters, this thing, that ashra and vishaya, will keep coming. So if we can remember it, it will be easy for us to relate back to this verse. So each and every devotee, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Each and every devotee has a certain type of transcendental mellow in relation to Krishna. But in all transcendental relationships, the devotee is the worshipper, ashraya, and Krishna is the object of worship, vishaya. So Krishna is vishaya, and the worshipper, that is all the devotees, are ashraya. So the object of worship is vishaya, that is Krishna, but in all transcendental relationship, the devotee, any devotee are ashraya. So ashraya and vishaya, ashraya and vishaya, devotees and Krishna. 142. Akhila rasamritam. This is so difficult because this is switching between Bengali, it's between two languages and also different meters. I'll try, though this is Anushtub. Akhila rasamrita murti parashramara ruchi ruddha taraka pali kalita shama lalito radha preyan vidurjayati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Let Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, be glorified. By virtue of his expanding attractive features, he subjugated the gopis named Taraka and Pali and absorbed the minds of Shyama and Lalita. He is the most attractive lover of Srimati Radharani and is the reservoir of pleasure for devotees in all transcendental mellows. So if we see Chaitanya Charitamrta, we read Chaitanya Charitamrta, this is like constant. Some chapters are not so much, but this particular chapter we see back and forth between Sanskrit verses, and Bengali verses. Also, different scriptures are being mentioned, so the meters are different completely. And that itself is a little austerity to read because mind has to continuously switch the meters and come back to it. The purport. Everyone has a particular transcendental mellow by which he loves and serves Krishna. Krishna is the most attractive feature for every kind of devotee. He is therefore called Akhila Rasamrita Murti, the transcendental form of attraction for all kinds of devotees, whether the devotee be in the Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras or Madhuryaras. This is the opening verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. So what Prabhupada is explaining, that every one of us has a relationship with Krishna. And the relationships are mentioned in the purport. It's either Shantaras, that is neutrality, or Dasyaras, servitude, Sakhyaras, fraternal, Vatsalya, paternal, or Madhurya, conjugal love. So any devotees may have any of this relationship with Krishna and serve accordingly. And then we hear, the scripture says that this Ragatmika, this Vedi Bhakti, and then we have Raganuga Bhakti, and then we have Ragatmika Bhakti. So Vedi Bhakti is something where we follow the rules and regulations as per the scriptures and given by our acharyas and our spiritual master, and we follow those and we do bhakti. That is Vedi Bhakti. And then comes Raganuga Bhakti, where love becomes spontaneous. We naturally love Krishna. And then it becomes Ragatmika, where we have already chosen one of the, Brajavasi from Krishna Leela, and we aspire for their love for Krishna and we walk their path. So that Ragatmika Bhakti. So one may have any of this sort of relationship of the 5 primary rasas that's been mentioned in the purport and can worship Krishna accordingly. 143. Shingaro rasa rajamaya murti dhar otoebo ottanto otoebo atmo porjanto sarvo chitto har. Krishna is all attractive for devotees in all mellows because he is the personification of the conjugal mellow. Krishna is attractive not only to all the devotees but to himself as well. So this is a very amazing verse where Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is writing that not just others are attracted to Krishna, even Krishna himself is attracted to himself. And we see this is a concept of narcissism, where you are obsessed by yourself. Like we know people who cannot get off the mirror. They keep looking at themselves because they think they're so beautiful. They get obsessed by themselves. Something like that, but on a transcendental platform, and Krishna can do that anyway. So 144. This is Shad Goswami Ashtakam meter. Vishvesham anuranjanena janayan anandam indivara Shreni shamala komaler upanayan angerana anangotsavam Swachandam braja sundarai bhiyabhita pratiyangam alingita Shringara sakhi murtiman iva madhau mugdho hari krirati. Translation. My dear friends, just see how Shri Krishna is enjoying the season of spring with the gopis embracing each of his limbs. He is like amorous love personified. With his transcendental pastimes, he enlivens all the gopis and the entire creation with his soft bluish black arms and legs, which resemble blue lotus flower. He has created a festival for Cupid. So this is Krishna's beauty. How beautiful he is. His arms and legs bluish and garment yellow. And seeing Krishna itself is like a festival created. A festival for Cupid. The Cupid is getting so attracted seeing Krishna that seeing Krishna itself is a festival. And that we see on the altar every day when we see Krishna decorated. Seeing him itself is a festival. It's like, no matter what's going on in life, but the moment you see Krishna so beautifully decorated, it's like, you have come to a different world, you have come to a festival, and Prabhupada so beautifully has given us this festival every day where Krishna is being decorated every morning during Darshanarti, and we see him and get all the blessings and the mercy. This is verse from Geet Govinda 111. Lakshmi Kanta di avotare hare man Lakshmi adi nari gonir kare akarshan. He also attracts Narayan, who is the incarnation of Shankarshan, and the husband of the goddess of fortune. He attracts not only Narayan but also all women, headed by the goddess of fortune, the consort of Narayan. So whom else does he attract? He attracts even himself. So of course he attracts Narayan and Lakshmi. When we went to Vrindavan, I don't remember which one it was. It sounds like Bhandirman to me, remember, but it might be some other one in Vrindavan, one of the forest, where we went and this pujari took us around and he was explaining to us how Lakshmi Devi is still waiting outside the temple. Not exactly outside the temple itself is hers, but she was waiting there, doing her tapasya, doing her austerity, to be a part of the rasa dance, because the Brajagopis had a very different mood than that of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is in the mood of awe and reverence. Gopis are more spontaneous. So Lakshmi Devi had to do, she's still doing tapasya, in that forest where the rasa dance was going, and her temple is there, and and the pujari was speaking to us about the Leela. So this reminds me how Lakshmi Devi also wants to, Narayan and the consort Lakshmi wants to see Krishna. Dujatmaja me yovayo dridikshuna mayo panita bhubidharma guptae kalavari kalavitarnau avanir bharashu sunar hatve habhutyas bhuyas tvaraye tamantime bharasuran. Okay. Addressing Krishna and Arjuna, Lord Mahavishnu, the Mahapurusha said, I wanted to see both of you, and therefore I have brought the sons of the Brahmanas. Brahmana here, both of you have appeared in the material world to re-establish religious principles. And you have both appeared here with all your potencies. After killing all the demons, please quickly return to the spiritual world. So this is Mahavishnu speaking to Krishna and Arjuna. So the pastime Prabhupada mentions in the purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.89.58 concerning Krishna's endeavor to take Arjuna beyond the material universe. When Arjuna was searching for the sons of a Brahmana's son was, if we see in the earlier yugas, where people were very, very pious as compared to Kali Yuga, this, sons dying and the younger ones dying before the older ones didn't happen that often. And if it happened, the citizen had the right to ask, question the king. So similarly, Arjuna was, questioned, basically Yudhishthir must be, question, and Arjuna said, okay, he promised that I will bring the sons of the Brahmana back. And he said he will give up his life and something like that he said. And like Krishna as usual, like, why do you have to say something like that? But anyway, we'll go find. And then they go search everywhere. They go down, they go upper planetary system, they go lower planetary, they go everywhere and they can't find their sons. And they finally, Krishna realizes and takes Arjuna beyond the material world. And I don't remember the entire pastime, but something I remember reading, I think it's in the Krishna book, where it's been said that when he was trying to go, the horses were blinded by the effulgence of Brahmajyoti. And then still the horses run through past this material world and the Brahmajyoti, and finally they enter the realm of Mahavishnu. And that's what Prabhupada is explaining, that Lord Mahavishnu, who is situated beyond the material world, was also attracted by the bodily feature of Krishna. Mahavishnu had actually stolen the sons of the Brahmana in Dwarka, so that Krishna and Arjuna would come visit him. This verse is quoted to show that Krishna is so attractive that he attracts Mahavishnu. Of course, Mahavishnu is a plenary portion of Krishna. And he himself is he is so attractive. Even Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is so attractive. He is so attractive. We see when Brahmaji, when he was sitting on the lotus, and he looked down like that, and he saw Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu was so unlimitedly elongated so long. He could not see that. He could not see where it ended and where he ended and where he started. He could see the long garlands and the jewelry he was bedecked with, and he was so attracted to. And now this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes from Mahavishnu, and we are talking about Mahavishnu who was so attracted to Krishna and wanted to see Krishna and Arjuna together. And he stole the sons of this Brahmana to have a darshan of Krishna. Kashyadubhu bhavoshana deva. Jai Shri Radha Kalachandi ki. Kashyanubhavoshana deva vidmahe tavangri renu sparashadhikara. Yadvanchaya Shri Lalana Charattapo Vihaya Kaman Shuchiram Dhritavrata. Translation. O Lord, who do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of dust of your Jai Shri Radha Kalachandji, dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and observing austere vows. Indeed, we do not know how this serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. So now this Kaliya, like the serpent, was so envious, whose head was touched by the Lord. We know this Kaliya Leela, where this Yamuna river was fully contaminated by the poison of Kaliya. And because he was there, Garuda, shoo him where Garuda was situated, and I don't remember the river's name, and Kaliya was residing, but he was so poisonous, he was killing everybody. The animals and the goat boys were getting, everybody was basically on the bank of Yamuna was getting affected by this poison. And Krishna goes inside, and then he performed the Rasa Leela, and then he steps on the slippery hoods of Kaliya serpent and start dancing. And as he was dancing, his footsteps were there imprinted on the head of Kaliya. And when he was about to kill Kaliya, the wives of Kaliya come and request that don't kill him, forgive him, spare him. And because they were devotees of Krishna, he spared the serpent. And that's when the wives saw the prints of Krishna's footprint on Kaliya's head. That's when this verse is. Prabhupada writes that this verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-36, was spoken by the wives of Kaliya serpent. So the wives prayed to Krishna for giving life back to, not to take the lives away from Kaliya. At the same time, they were saying that how fortunate Kaliya is that he got the prayer. And we see that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is known to be the uplifter of the fallen, the most fallen. He is known as Patita Pavan. He is going to appear soon on 24th of March once again in the hearts of devotees. And we see that he is the uplifter of the most, and then as Narottam Das Thakur saying that if you do not uplift me, who is the most fallen, then why are you called Patita Pavan? Patita Pavan means uplifter of the fallen. And if you don't uplift the most fallen one that Narottam Das Thakur is mentioning about himself, then you're not supposed to be called as Patita Pavan. So here, the Kaliya's wives, the serpent's wife, is saying that how fortunate he is. And we see how fallen Kaliya was. So that's a qualification to be uplifted by the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 148. আপন মাধুর্য হরে আপনারো মন আপনা আপনি চাহে করিতে আলিঙ্গন. Lord Krishna's sweetness is so attractive that it steals away his own mind. Thus, even he wants to embrace himself. So Krishna wants to embrace himself. He's so sweet that, he wants to embrace himself. 149. Aparikalita puravakas chamatkarakari spurati mamagariyan esha madhurya pura ayam aham apihanta prekshyam lubdha cheta sarabhasam upabhoktam kamaeradhikeva. Upon seeing his own reflection in a visual pillar of his Dwarka palace, Krishna desired to embrace it, saying, "Alas, I have never seen such a person before. Who is he? Just by seeing him, I have become eager to embrace him, exactly like Srimati Radharani." So Krishna, he is not being obsessed by his beauty like sometimes we might be, like a conditioned soul might be. If he or she is very beautiful, he decorates himself, herself, and sees the reflection in the mirror and then get obsessed by themselves. Krishna is not that. Krishna is actually so beautiful, he doesn't even know it is somebody else. He doesn't even know it's himself. So he's not really realizing it's himself. He's really seeing somebody beautiful whom he has not seen. He has not seen anybody so beautiful like this reflection in the mirror. And he is thinking, or in the pillar. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. On the pillar, he's seeing this reflection. Though it's his own reflection, he doesn't identify the reflection with himself. And not being obsessed with himself, basically. He's being obsessed or being attracted to this reflection that he is seeing, and it is Krishna's. It happens to be Krishna's. He's not being attracted because it's him. He's attracted because it is attractive, and it happens to be Krishna. We get attracted to the reflection on the mirror because it's us. But Krishna is being attracted to this reflection because it is so attractive, and it happens to be him. If I could explain the difference. And so Krishna thinks he's so beautiful, this personality on the pillar, the reflection is so beautiful. I want to embrace, just like Radharani wants to embrace Krishna. This verse is from Srila Rupa Goswami's Lalita Madhav 8:34. এই তো সংক্ষেপে করিল কৃষ্ণর স্বরূপ এবে সংক্ষেপে কহি শুনো রাধার তৎবরূপ. Now we are getting more complicated subject, getting into more complicated subject matter. Now we are getting into Radha Tattva Swarup. Sri Ramananda Rai then said, "I have thus briefly explained the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, let me describe the position of Srimati Radharani." Krishner ananta shakti tate tin pradhan chit shakti maya shakti jiva shakti nam. Krishna has unlimited potencies. This we learn from Bhagavad Gita as well, but here again, which can be divided into three main parts. Krishna has unlimited potencies. If we hear or read Brahma's glorification of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and in general, he has unlimited potencies, but they are mainly categorized into three divisions. So Krishna has unlimited potency, which can be divided into three main parts. These are the spiritual potency, the material potency, and the marginal potency, which is known as the living entities. Marginal is the living entities. Prabhupada will explain further. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining further in the verses. 152. Antaranga bahiranga tathastha kohi jare antaranga swarup shakti shabar upore. Translation. In other words, these are all potencies of God, internal, external, and marginal. But the internal potency is the Lord's personal energy and stands over the other two. So we know internal, that is Krishna's personal energy, and then external, that is the inferior energy, and the marginal, that is all the living entities, right? All the living entities. But it's been said in this verse by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that the internal potency is the highest of all. over the marginal. Marginal, if we see Bhagavad Gita also explains that marginal potency, the living entities are also potency-wise higher, though they get captured, captivated, influenced by the material nature through the modes of nature, but still the potency itself, the living entity, the Jiva Tattva, the marginal potency, the Tathastha potency is superior energy than the material or the inferior or the inferior energy of Krishna or the Prakriti. So Jiva Tattva is higher than Prakriti, but Jiva Tattva gets attracted by Prakriti. Next one. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetra Gyakhya Tatha Para Avidya Karma Samagyanya Samagnaya Tritiya Shakti Ishyate. The original potency of the Lord Vishnu is superior or spiritual, and the living entity actually belongs to that superior energy. But there is another energy called the material energy, and this third energy is full of ignorance, that is Maya, right? The third Shakti is Maya, and the marginal potency can either be under the superior potency or under the inferior potency. That is either, Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, either under Radharani's energy or under the Durga Devi or external energy. This is a quotation from the Vishnu Puran 6.7.61. Chit Shakti Anandamoy Krishna Swarup Ataeva Swarup Shakti Hoy Tino Roop. Translation. Originally, Lord Krishna is Satchid Ananda Vigraha, the transcendental form of eternity, bliss and knowledge. Therefore, his personal potency, the internal potency, has three different forms, getting detailed into now. Now we have heard three energies, external, internal and the marginal. And now we are getting into internal, the superior, the spiritual energy, and the three divisions in that. Three divisions are Anandangshe Ladini, Shadangshe Sandhini, Chitangshe Sambhit Jar Gyano Kori Mani. Ladini is his aspect of bliss, Sandhini of eternal existence, and Sambhit of cognizance, which is also accepted as knowledge. So Sambhit stands for knowledge. Sambhit stands for knowledge, Sandhini stands for eternal existence, and Ladini is for bliss. So Sat Chit Anand. Anand is Ladini, that is bliss. Sandhini is eternal, that is Sat. And Chit is the Sambhit potency. Of course, this is way beyond my league, but I'm just reading it through, so please bear with me. Ladini Sandhini Sambhit. No, it's Ladini Sandhini Sambhit Tvai Eka Sarva Samshre Ladata Kari Mishra Tvai No Gunavarjite. My dear Lord, you are the transcendental reservoir of all transcendental qualities. Your pleasure potency, existence potency, and knowledge potency are actually all one internal spiritual potency. The conditioned soul, although actually spiritual, sometimes experiences pleasure, sometimes pain, and sometimes a mixture of pain and pleasure. This is due to his being touched by matter. But because you are above all material qualities, these are not found in you. Your superior spiritual potency is completely transcendental, and for you there is no such thing as relative pleasure mixed with pain or pain itself. This is a quotation from Vishnu Puran. So basically, what I have heard, that Krishna, he actually doesn't understand our material pain. So this might be a little deviating from what we are going, but I will just thought I would anyway mention it. Krishna doesn't understand when we, Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandi, our material pain. And, or anything, any of our conditioning that because he is Satchidanand, he is completely transcendental to any matter, even if he appears, even in the Vigraha form, he's not touched by the matter. So anything that's material is beyond his understanding. So that's not a lacking. That's because we are touched by the matter, he is beyond it. So what he does, our Guru Vargas, and I was hearing this class by this Maharaj, where Maharaj was saying that to understand a jiva's pain, how a jiva is suffer in this material world, Krishna sends us Guru, who understand, because he is completely transcendental, and we have been influenced by the matter. So we have been contaminated, and he is completely pure. And to take a path in between, to help us out, Krishna sends us our Guru, whom Krishna empowers to understand our situation. Guru is also transcendental, but Krishna empowers him to understand our situation, and so that he can connect with us and help us and walk this path and help us become Krishna conscious and take us back to Godhead. So it's not Guru is contaminated, but Krishna empowers him with this potency where he can understand the conditioned soul, the contaminated soul, and help us back to Godhead. So here in the verse, it's from Vishnu Puran, where it's that the jivas, and we hear this question by Devahuti to Kapil Dev. She was asking how the jiva, who is actually superior in nature, gets attracted to the matter, but they get attracted in such a way that they cannot be broken apart. And how in such a situation a jiva can be liberated from the material conditioning. And that's when Kapil Muni goes further. But this is an eternal situation where jiva, even if the jiva is a part of the superior energy, still due to coming to this material. And then again Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained, not just because they come to material nature, because Krishna comes to the material world too. So are the liberated souls, but they don't get contaminated because they don't get influenced by the three modes of nature. So we see that, so what's been explained in this Vishnu Puran, this verse, that even if we are impacted by this kind of, the relativity, the relative pleasure mixed with pain, and the pain itself, Krishna's is completely blissful, it's transcendental, and there is no mixture with the pleasure. It's only Ananda. It's only Ananda, only pleasure. I'll go for one verse and then we'll pause. Krishna lade tate nam ladini shei shoktir dare shukha ashade apani. Very important verse. This is, important from philosophical point of view. That the potency called Ladini gives Krishna transcendental pleasure. Through this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes all spiritual pleasure. So basically Ladini Shakti, which is Radharani's potency, all the bliss that Krishna, all the transcendental pleasure that Krishna tastes is through this potency, through this Ladini Shakti, through this energy of Ladini or Srimati Radharani. And this enables Krishna to enjoy or relish all other mellows. So without Radharani's potency, Krishna cannot enjoy the other mellows. So that's what I will read a translation one more. If I couldn't explain, we'll hear Srila Prabhupada. The potency called Ladini gives Krishna transcendental pleasure. Through this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes all spiritual pleasure. So anything that Krishna is tasting is through Ladini. So we see that when Rai Ramananda was explaining the different steps of the mellows, the different stages, the Sakhya and the Prem, Vatsalya and everything, all the other four rasas. And Mahaprabhu was saying that go deep, and go deep. Until he came to this stage where Rai Ramananda started speaking about Madhurya Ras, and then finally about Srimati Radharani. And then we hear, and Prabhupada was trying to explain that in the verse that a few classes back when we were discussing that Prabhupada is saying that how Madhurya is topmost, though none of it, like the fraternal and the paternal and all other, the friendship, everything is wonderful, but Madhurya is topmost because in Madhurya you taste everything else. Similarly, in Ladini Shakti, which of course the Madhurya cannot exist without the Ladini Shakti because it's Srimati Radharani's Shakti. And Radharani is the Shiromani of the Madhurya Rasa. So we had a discussion in the class where the Prabhu was trying to explain that no, all other, like Lakshmi's position and the Dwarka Rani, the queens of Dwarka position, they are all similar. It's just the mood that as being Gauriya, we are trying to think that Radharani is the topmost, but this is not what is being explained. Even if we see this verse, that, that Krishna cannot enjoy without Ladini Shakti. So that's the topmost, and which enables the Madhurya. So as we go deeper into it, I don't know how much I can explain because it's very deep and I'm very shallow. But yeah, we'll try to understand what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is trying to speak, and through Prabhupada's translation and purport. For today, we'll pause here. It's time. Shri Caitanya Charitamrta ki, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please forgive me for the offenses. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. If there is any addition, anything anybody would like to add, please go ahead. Else we'll pause for the day. Thank you. Hare Krishna.